Good morning, everybody. Come on in, grab a spot. Give folks a chance to get settled. Maybe grab a cup of coffee or a donut bowl or something delicious. No, I'm good. Thank you. All right, come on in. Anyone who leaves their house when it's this cold outside, I just feel like deserves extra stars in their crown and big kudos, and thank y'all for being here, and thank you for being here and braving the cold weather. And if for any reason when I'm speaking or when Dave, our speaker, is speaking, you can't hear us, just give us like this sign right here, and we'll raise our voices or move closer to the microphone or something along those lines. Let us begin with, this is a blessing by John O'Donohue. Our focus today is holy friendship and also mentorship. This is one of his blessings. John O'Donohue passed away, I don't know, a decade ago or so, but he was a Celtic theologian. He has a beautiful book called To Share the Space Between Us, which is filled with all these blessing prayers that are just incredible. So I highly recommend it. Anyway, the Lord be with you. Also with you. May you be blessed with good friends. May you learn to be a good friend to yourself. May you be able to journey to that place in your soul where there is great love, warmth, feeling, and forgiveness. May this change you. May it transfigure that which is negative, distant, or cold in you. May you be brought into the real passion, kinship, and affinity of belonging. May you treasure your friends. May you be good to them. And yet may you be there for them. May they bring you all the blessings, challenges, truth, and light that you need for your journey. May you never be isolated. May you always be in the gentle nest of belonging with your Anam Cara. Amen. Amen. So good morning, everybody. It's good to be together again. We've begun to have some really rich and amazing conversation in this setting, and it's just been so fun to watch all of your engagement. The idea of catching fire, the overall big picture idea, is that Christianity is a relational faith, that it has been said Christianity is not taught, it is caught. Part of how we come to know the love of God is through one another, and we can help strengthen one another's faith and lift one another up and invite one another into the life of God. Our understanding of God is in fact relationship in Trinity. Three persons indwelling, one God, and yet this procession of gifts within the life of the Trinity, as Augustine would have called it, right? There's love, love, and love, love, and love, love, and love. So infinitely intertwined as to be a whole unity, a giving and receiving of gifts in a dance of reciprocity that is unending and eternal. Those are some of the ways that the Trinity is described. And so if we are made in the image of God, then our relationships are a part of what it means to be made in the image of God, to reflect that reciprocity and care with one another, that giving and exchanging, giving and receiving of gifts from one another, that love and love. So So holy friendship is just a few things I want to say about holy friendship. What makes holy friendship different? Anamkara is a phrase that refers to the Celtic concept of a soul friend in religion and spirituality. It's an Anglicanized word from Anamkara. I'm sure I don't have the Irish, but Anam meaning soul, Kara meaning friend. There are references to it that go back in the martyrdom works of the monks in Ireland. There's also a reference to it in the Welsh Peregrine. Anamkara is a friendship that involves a compassionate presence and that invites into it the presence of God. It was also a monastic phrase that was used in the monastic tradition in Ireland and Scotland, which was used to describe a mentor, a companion, a teacher, a spiritual guide. And there's some evidence for this concept as well from the desert fathers and mothers. The capacity for friendship and the ability to read other people's hearts became the basis of the desert elders' effectiveness as spiritual guides. So this idea of coming alongside another and helping them. Anyway, so that's a little overview of what holy friendship might be. I think holy friendship is marked by friendship in general. You get very Aristotelian, he was big on friendship, right? So the idea that our friends are the people who make us better, iron sharpening iron, and that we want to develop friendships in our lives that do that. Friendships are a little different in that they're often marked by a kind of reciprocity, kind of give and take. There's a kind of quality, might not be the exact right word, but there's not a big power differential necessarily with the people that we're friends with. And friends are people that we choose. C.S. Lewis talks about, in the Four Loves, he talks about these different kinds of love. And there's storge, which is the love of affiliation, which is very much the love that's kind of the church, where you sort of know somebody because of proximity. But friendship is to know somebody by choice, and that person to know you by choice. We've chosen one another in a particular way, which is really, really cool. And so before I introduce Dave, I just want to tell you about one of my soul friends. Her name is Amy Bostwick. She now works at Canuga Conference Center up in the mountains of Hendersonville, an Episcopal Conference Center. And so I'm going to tell you a funny story on myself. So Amy is really, really wonderful, bright, shining light, who is so kind and so present and so earnestly in love with the gospel that she just kind of brightens my life. When she and I were just first getting to know each other, we were in a grocery store together, and I realized that I had picked up something. I picked up the wrong thing, and I didn't want it. And so we were already in the checkout line, and so I just sort of put the item, over, on the side. I didn't want to walk it all the way back. And Amy looked at me, she just kind of looked at me and she's like, "Are you going to leave that there?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "I'll go take it back." She picked it up and she took it back. And it was such a small gesture, right? But she didn't shame me or anything. She just sort of lovingly held me accountable. And but also she did what she thought was right, which is that you don't leave it on the side. But put it back. Someone else will have to put it back. Don't do that. It's not a big thing, but it revealed something about her character in that moment, and I could trust her in a new way because she revealed that character to me. It was just like, okay, she's one of the good ones. She's going to try to do what's right.
we might have slightly different, I might not think it's that bad. But she does, and that's important, right? You know, that we help one another. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, what I think is kind of a fun story about my training. It is now my pleasure, I want to introduce Dave Lyons to us this morning. Dave was confirmed here at St. Luke's last May, right?
April.
And April, I don't want to take your stories away, so I'm not saying.
Avery. You guys are
And now you are one of our lectors and actively participating in the life of our church and the Christian Formation Committee team. What's your committee?
Adult formation.
Team. The team was asked to sort of wonder and ponder, and they said, "You would tell a good story." So without further ado, Dave Lyons.
You're welcome.
Well, good morning, you all. I did not realize that this was Irish Sunday. My last name's Lyons. I'm almost 100% Irish. So when I was reading the notes today, I'm like, okay, this is providential. So, well, thank you for the honor of speaking with you all today. And mentorship and holy friendship are two really key parts of my faith, my life. And I'm here because of some very special mentors and a couple of holy friendships. So in reading about what a mentor is, it's somebody who knows something that you really don't know all that well yet. So I'm a recovering Catholic. I had an aunt who was a nun who ran away with the local priest. And so as a child, I always knew whatever the grandkids did, it wouldn't ace what that was. So it was a very interesting background. And as I grew into adulthood, I found myself searching for a new home. It was about 2 decades. And I first lived in Minneapolis for nearly 20 years, and I attended the Basilica up there. And when I moved to Austin in 2009, I was searching around. And it was through my friendship with Michael DeSculio over here, who we were working together, and we started talking about faith. And he started talking about St. Luke's. Well, for 11 years, I lived in Lago Vista, right across the lake. And I would drive by this place a couple times per week. And what's always there was this mystical draw about it. First, the campus is visually stunning. But secondly, it was something more about it. So it took about a year, I think, before I finally got up the bravery to walk through the doors. And from the first moment I walked in St. Luke's on the Lake, I just felt an immediate sense of belonging and community. From the friendly handshakes and the warm hugs, I felt truly at home. Now, the beautiful surroundings and the vistas were astonishing, but I was overwhelmed by the sense of fellowship and community while seated in that far left pew with a view of the neighboring estates. So as I entered the church, I immediately noticed that baptismal fonts, and I saw folks gathering around it as children, and Michael's small dogs were wandering around. Now, I'm a total animal lover, so that was very enchanting. So after decades of searching for a place of worship, it turns out that my friend Michael was right about this parish, so thank you. Now, my faith has grown immeasurably because of the nurturing of you, the parishioners. And the other person I would like to call out is Barbara Frizzell. Barbara is such an asset to this parish. She's always big smile, big hug, just a dynamite of a person. And we met when they fast-tracked me to this at Jack Allen's, just down the way. And we're sitting around and over nachos and iced tea and a nice midday lunch. And we're talking faith and all this kind of stuff, and just so humble. And it really struck me about the people that worship here. Now, the third person I would like to talk about is a holy friend, and she's was a very close friend of mine. She's a nun. She died sadly in 2010. Her name was Sister Martin, and Sister Martin was about 6 feet tall. She wore bright red lipstick. She had 6-inch stilettos, and she pranced around our college campus, my undergrad campus. And a lot of the other sisters were jealous of her. But she, like Barbara, like Michael, was very open with the faith and always reassuring and comforting and just a sense of joy. Well, Sister Martin sadly died in 2010 of pancreatic cancer, and I returned home to see my dad and my mother, who live in the same town. And they have a sister's cemetery. And there was this raging blizzard. This is in the plains of South Dakota. And I just realized my Dakota accent just came out there. But anyway, raging blizzard, and it's a place of astonishing solace. It's on a river bluff, and there's all these white little tombstones, and there's this path, and it's got beautiful Douglas fir trees, and I'm searching around, and all of a sudden I sit down on the bench right near her gravesite, and it's like this vortex. Sun, blizzarding snow all around me. I cannot explain it, but I felt her presence, and I felt such a sense of peace. And if there's one person on this planet I've ever had that ESP thing, like I would go to pick up the phone, and she'd be on the other end without it ever having rung. It was Sister Martin. But it was her faith as well that sustained me through some really challenging times. So what else is it about St. Luke's that made me want to join the parish? Y'all are extremely welcoming, very caring, genuine, and authentic. From the greeters to the warm welcome to Bishop Andy and his VW, which we tried to hot rod at Avery. Do you remember that when we were being confirmed into the church? I think your mother was there too. Anyway, just a real astonishing person. The beautiful interior and design of the church, that lovely holy cross. When Reverend Ann was talking about the origins of it upstairs, it really resonated with me. And when I'm here for church, I sometimes come in early and I just stare at it because it's very, very, very powerful. From the post-service coffee and pastries with the fellowship, Michael's dogs, and Barbara encouraged me to come to the kids' Christmas service. And there was about a 3-year-old little boy who was supposed to be a sheep, and he ran off down the aisleway, and it totally cracked me up. So we are truly surrounded by God's glories here on St. Luke's campus. Now, I have another very personal relationship to the Episcopal faith, and that goes back to my 14th great-grandfather, a gentleman by the name of John Rogers, who was the Bishop of St. Paul's Cathedral in London, who was the first Protestant martyr burnt to the stake by Queen Mary I. He refused to convert back to Catholicism after he published the first English translation of the Bible, commonly known as Matthew's Bible. Now, Rogers, if you remember, was known as the Happy Martyr, and he had an unshakable faith, which is passed down 14 generations. Now, I first became aware of his presence in 1984 when I traveled with my family to London, and we were visiting Smithfield. Now, if you've been to London, you know the Tower of London, and there's the Executioner Square. Well, my mother and my younger brother, who was 7 at the time, visited it. And my mother and I both felt this eerie energy right there. We could not figure it out. Well, my family is big into genealogy, so we got an ancestry DNA. And it turns out that very spot was where he was martyred in the year 1555. So it felt as if that distant ancestor was reaching through the heavens. So, like my 14th grandfather, who was raised Catholic, our beliefs have changed over time. And St. Luke's, I cannot tell you what a welcoming, embracing, joyous community this is, and I'm looking forward to help us grow. So thank you for your time, and look forward to speaking with you soon.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hey gang, you've got some small group questions, and so turn to your neighbor and enjoy the rest of your time together.
Hey, I don't know, just all the things.
I do. Oh, Dennis.